John and Ken Show. John Cobell, Ken Champeau, KFI, AM 640 here at the Republican Convention. One more day.
Yeah, all
in
brought
Cleveland.
to you by, of course, Sweet James at sweetjames.com. That's right, our last day. And, well, we thought we'd be talking to this guy a couple of days ago, but there was a little mess up, and we did not get the opportunity. But he's in front of us now, and we've had him on the show several times. Roger Stone, welcome back to the John and Ken Show.
Delighted to be here.
Roger is known as the premier political operative. Nixon, you worked for Reagan, right?
Very proud of it.
And inside and outside, you worked for the Bushes, too?
I worked for Bush Sr. in California at the very end of the '88 campaign at the request of Jim Baker and my friend Lee Atwater. But don't ever call me a Bush Republican or I will punch you in the mouth.
Oh,
man. I would never do that.
No, that's right.
No, I'm a Reagan Goldwater Republican, but my mentor, my political mentor, of course, would be Richard Nixon. And I do have a tattoo of him about the size of a pineapple in the middle of my back.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
That's
who
right.
Who would make that up?
Right, who would make that up?
I was told to ask you about that.
And
It's
I put
true
it in the
then,
middle
huh?
of my back because I could figure it later I could always add Buckley, Goldwater, and Reagan for kind of a conservative Mount Rushmore on my back. And then maybe in Old English like Republican gangsta.
All right, the big story of the convention today is obviously the Ted Cruz speech last night. Vote your conscience. No mention of voting for Trump.
Yeah, self-immolation. He's the new Nelson Rockefeller Republican Party. I mean, look, the lesson of history is clear. In 1964, the party nominates Barry Goldwater. George Romney takes a walk. Nelson Rockefeller takes a walk. Bill Scranton takes a walk. Dick Nixon, he sees only opportunity. He endorses Goldwater. He introduces him to the convention. And then he hits 38 states for the Goldwater-Miller ticket, more states than Barry himself manages to get to. 4 years later, and I don't expect Trump to lose, so in this case it would be 8 years later.
Right.
The conservatives in the party, Goldwater himself, Bill Buckley, John Tower, the Giants, Carl Curtis, they're not for Ronald Reagan. They're for Dick Nixon. Why? Because Nixon was there when the party had its greatest battle. Ted Cruz could have set himself up by being a good, loyal guy. Now, the truth is, he did agree to endorse Trump. He did agree to support the ticket, to announce that he was voting for the Trump-Pence ticket. He lied. That's why they call him Lyin' Ted.
Yeah, the pledge.
The guy's an egomaniac. He publicly signed a pledge. So what is he saying to the world? Your conscience. Never mind your conscience. You gave your word. So your word is no good. In politics, if you don't have your word, you're done. We're elephants. We have long memories. If this guy comes back around, no conservative will support him, none that matter. He's done. He looks in the mirror, he sees Ronald Reagan. All I see is an odious snake oil salesman.
Were you surprised at the reaction? I mean, it was just a spontaneous eruption of anger.
You know, my first convention was 1964. I was 12 years old. The woman who lived next door to me in Connecticut was a Goldwater alternate. She gave me the book Conscience of a Conservative by Goldwater. I read it. Transformed my life. I now knew what I wanted to do. So I begged my parents to be able to go to the convention at Cow Palace. I was in the stands when we were booing Nelson Rockefeller. Until yesterday, I thought that I'd never see that again. Yeah, grassroots conservatives, and there's a lot of crossover. People who kind of like Cruz, like Trump. He's done. He's cooked himself. He's a duplicitous, sneaky globalist. And I'm sorry I'm mincing words.
Really.
His backers call him the true conservative. You're not buying that.
Yeah, I understand that, and there's a lot fewer of them than there were yesterday.
Yeah.
Because this is a fight against Hillary Clinton. So in the fight against evil, in the fight against the Clinton crime family, he's MIA. No, I don't think conservatives will forgive him.
This is the good part. Let's move to because Cruz will be forgotten tomorrow. You're absolutely right.
I agree.
It's Trump and Hillary.
This is why they call him Tricky Ted.
How much are you looking forward to the first debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton?
Well, here's the most important thing to remember. The most predictable thing about Donald Trump is he's entirely unpredictable.
Right.
So who knows where he's going to come at her? Hillary, you were Secretary of State. There's $6 billion missing, $6 billion of our tax dollars. Did you steal it? Did your daughter steal it? Maybe your husband stole it. Hillary, I'm a misogynist. Your husband's a serial rapist. But what you did to those women is even worse because you bullied them, you threatened them, you intimidated them into silence. You're worse than an enabler. You're an accessory after the fact in all of your husband's sex crimes. It's not just Willie and Broderick and Jones. I identify in my book, The Clintons' War on Women, which you can get at clintonswar.com, 27 women who were sexually assaulted by Bill Clinton and then threatened or bullied or intimidated by his wife. So this is, to me it is outrageous that we are prosecuting Bill Cosby, but we're not prosecuting Bill Clinton. That's racism.
Yeah, there's a direct comparison between these two guys.
Well, here's the difference. Cosby drugged his victims. Bill preferred to physically overpower and bite his victims. The NBC, the Washington Post, both identified women that Bill had bitten their upper lips. It's his M.O. It's a classic disabling move for rapists, and it also says, not so subtly, keep your mouth shut.
What is the Jeffrey Epstein story? Flying on Epstein's planes, he's the convicted billionaire pedophile, had the orgies of young girls on islands.
Yeah,
how connected was Clinton to that whole scene?
Clinton was on the airplane, which was dubbed the Lolita Express, kind of like the Playboy Mansion on wings, at least 17 times with his top man, Doug Band. So he's palling around, going to the private hedonistic island retreat of Epstein, plus parties at his place in Palm Beach and parties in a place in Manhattan. My question is very simple, and Hillary's never with him. What was he doing there? The parties were all underage girls. The Palm Beach City Police, the county sheriff determines that Epstein has assaulted 33 women between the ages of 13 and 17. This is who Bill was palling around with. P.S. There's no way you couldn't know, because you went into the Palm Beach place. There's a large marble table, and there's pictures. There's Polaroids of all the women, like a menu. This is sick. They took $25,000 from Epstein to the Clinton Foundation. They've never returned it. And right now there is a lawsuit that would overturn the slap on the wrist plea deal he got. For raping 33 underage girls, he got 15 months.
Epstein, yeah.
Yeah, not in the Florida penitentiary where every other sex offender goes, but in the Palm Beach County Jail in the air-conditioned wing, where he only has to be between 7 in the morning until 7 in the morning until 10 at night. So he's free to go during the day. He only has to be in the Huskow at night, and they're bringing in his gourmet meals because Epstein liked to dine late.
Is Clinton ever going to be directly connected to having sex with these girls?
Well, it's a lawsuit.
Does it ever get covered by the national media?
The Bush Justice Department was so unhappy with this state plea deal that they came in. This is under George W. Bush and Alberto Gonzales. They review the entire case. Now they seal the case so nobody will know, and they rubber stamp the state penalty. But they made one mistake. Under the federal law, the victims have to be informed of the plea deal, and they never were. So there is a case right now that would seek to overturn his plea deal, and he'd have to go back to trial. If he doesn't want to go to prison, I would bet that he dimes his good running buddy, Bill Clinton.
Which way do you think the election is going in November?
Well, I think it's a jump ball. I think it's very, very close, and I say that not because I have a lack of confidence, but because the mainstream media they are intent on not asking Hillary any tough questions, but constantly smearing and vilifying and bullying Donald Trump. So, if you watch CNN last night, they might as well have a disclaimer that, I'm Hillary Clinton and I paid for this, because here's all the things the Republicans said that were wrong. She's not responsible for Benghazi and she didn't lie. It's nonsense. It really is nonsense. So I think between the fact that the mainstream media covers for her and the fact that there's more Democrats today in the country than Republicans, this will be very close. What's amazing to me is that the race has remained this close given all the disadvantages. That shows you how much people do not want Hillary Clinton.
We got Roger Stone with us. He's written a book about the Clintons' war on women, and you can get that. It's a good read.
Yeah, and they had to move Roger along for another interview, but he promised us maybe next month he'll stop by the Burbank studios and be in studio live, so we'll have a chance to catch up with him then.
John and Ken here at the Republican Convention, KFI. Amy King is news.